Okie dokie boys and girls, it is day 291 of bulking to 75 kilos with calisthenics only, and today we have a push day. Now, I'm here talking to you guys about 10 minutes earlier to like 15 minutes earlier than usual, and this is because, well, lately I've been wasting my time, I've been wasting my time, and today I found a way to basically solve that problem. I've been wasting my time on like the most useless shit, which is basically I come home from work and then I start playing on my phone, even though there is nothing interesting on my phone. Like, I start looking for things to look at on my phone, even though I have shit to do, I have a training to do. It's just something that if I don't watch out, I get addicted to my phone, or I am addicted to my phone. So if I don't watch out, I start using it, like I start taking it out of my pocket and turning it on, even if I don't need it. And, today I've managed to solve the problem with something called a self-rule, which, if you watch some anime, if you watch Naruto, you might know this concept, but basically, in Naruto, you have this character called Rock Lee, who's like the most untalented person ever, but because he worked so hard, he became stronger than everyone else, and his master, Mighty Guy, as well, like, he was one of the strongest people on Earth because he was working so hard. And one of the principles they apply in their training is the self-rule, which is basically you set yourself a challenge and either you complete it, or if you don't, you make up something else to make up for it. Like, it's the self-rule. If you can't, like, you try A. If you cannot do A, then you try B. If you cannot do B, then you try and do C. So they were doing like 500 push-ups, and if you can't do 500 push-ups, then you jump rope 500 times. And if you can't do that, then you do like the fist thrust, whatever the fuck, right? And that's how they got strong. And although I'm not applying it to training in this case, it's still something like, it's a concept that you can apply in your general life. So today I made a rule, not only for today of course, but from now on, when I get back from work, I am not turning on my internet connection, Usually I go back from work by bike, my phone is in my pocket, so I turn off the internet connection anyway, because I don't want to get blue balls, but that's besides the point. I come home and I always turn it on, but I'm gonna make the rule, I don't turn on the internet connection, so I don't use, I cannot use my phone basically, right? I can record it, I can use my phone to record stupid fucking talks for YouTube, but I cannot do anything on the internet. And basically, if I don't have the internet, I'm not gonna use my phone. And by doing so, right, I can unwaste my time, or I can, go back into the training room faster. And the rule is, for me personally, if I don't manage to do that, right, keep off the internet until the training is done. If I cannot do it, then the rule is that I will not use the internet from after my training until I go to bed. And if I cannot do that, well, I haven't figured it out yet, but I'll figure something out when that happens. But basically, yeah, that's how I got into this training room earlier today. And, it's a concept that you can apply everywhere in life, in training. But yeah, today's training is going to be push. Yesterday I did 2 trainings. I did push as well. So today I'm kind of tired, but, being tired, that's kind of the perfect spot to see where you're at, I think today I will just try the 5x5 combo again, like 5-second hold to 5 push-ups, and then see how many presses I can do. And there is no pressure on it because I feel tired anyway, so why would I expect anything of myself? So no expectations, that means I can give it my all freely. And well, after the planche, there will be a bunch of other stuff, including heavy dips, but we'll get to that when we are done with planche. Oh shit. I think that's the last, or the same result as the last attempt, basically not being able to hold off the push-ups, but whew, still felt like a good stimulus. Now I'm gonna take a bit of a longer break and move on to some sets of planche push-ups plus 2 kilos, because I feel if I can unlock the weighted planche push-ups, you know, they're gonna feel light when I do them with body weight. It's really gonna help me get to that press. So yeah, let's go. Heavy training today. All right, let's give it a all on these push-ups. The goal is to basically do the push-ups with the legs as stable as possible, you know. I don't want to have them moving downwards. I just want to have the legs stable and then eventually be able to press in them. It's not gonna happen today probably, but let's see what happens. All right. Of course, no press, like far from it, but this is better than last time, so let's do a couple more sets. Alright, I think that's gonna be it for full planche sets today. One set less than usual, but I already did quite a lot of volume yesterday. I am gonna do 2 more lighter sets, and instead of using the bands today, I'm gonna do straddle supinated planche, just to have a, you know, I'm not used to the supinated planche, so I don't really know how to dash out all of my power, even if I wanted to. So that's gonna make these light sets, you know, and at the same time, I can strengthen some of my weak areas, such as the forearms and the biceps. So I think it's gonna be a good one. 2 sets of those, straddle planche holds, and then we can move on to heavy dips. Alright, that's 48 kilos. Next set is gonna be 70, which is, well, the heaviest dip I've ever done, basically. I've done 70 kilos 4 reps before. I think 12 was my PR, but today's goal is not to get a PR. Today's goal is to feel the weight, because my chest is actually quite destroyed still from last session I had, you know. If you remember, I think it was on Sunday, I had a 1000 push-up workout. I'm still feeling it. So today, yes, I'm doing heavy dips, but I'm doing them lightly. I'm not going to my max, and that way I can feel some heavy weight, but at the same time I can recover. So I think I'm gonna do like 2 sets of 70 kilo dips, but since they're gonna be light, it's gonna be less intense than 1 set to the max, you know. So yeah, let's go. All right, 2 sets of 6 reps. I think that will be good today. Alright, I think I had about 2 more reps in the tank there at the end, but very nice. They were kind of paused as well, so paused dips as well, which, you know, I don't train the dips a lot, you know, the dips, my strength on the dips comes from the planche. Planche is my main exercise. That's how I got my arms built, that's how I got my shoulders built, that's basically how I got strong. And then because the planche is such a goated exercise, like it's such a good exercise, it carries over into everything else, right? Because when you train planche, your base becomes so strong, you can train dips for like a little bit and just get a little stimulus and become way stronger. Your newbie gains are gonna be amplified basically. But yeah, that's it for the dips, and let me get this weight off of me and then talk to you some more, because, you know, the next part of the workout is not to be underestimated. Okie dokie, so now it's time for the painful part of the workout, the push-ups. And if you recognize the setup, you will know it's time for Japanese style push-ups, where I do decline, I put my feet on this chair, and then I use the bars in a wide grip to basically fire up my chest completely. But these push-ups, they're scary. Not only because what I'm about to do, I don't know if I can do it, but also because when it comes to endurance, you know, it's not just trying something and failing, you know. When you are doing the endurance stuff and you come to a point of failure, it's oftentimes when you've already been going for minutes or even, you know, half an hour up to an hour, right? And then you come at this point of failure and you're like, holy shit, I have so much more to go. Am I going to be able to do this, right? When you like try something related to strength, you know, when you try a planche or you try a dip, a heavy dip, you try it and then you fail a couple seconds later. There's not like this constant feeling or uncomfortable feeling. It's not there. And so the reason that these endurance workouts are very hard mentally is because not only do you have the aspect of failing, you also have the aspect of pain that you know is coming up. And yeah, that's what I'm about to experience. Today's plan, I'm still feeling tired in the chest, so I'm not gonna go for like 1,000 push-ups. Instead, what I'm gonna do is longer sets. I'm gonna do sets of 50 instead of the usual 20. I'm gonna try and do it every 3 minutes and hopefully get to 6 sets. Now, I don't have a single clue if I'm gonna be able to do it. If I'm not, I'm just gonna take more rest in between sets to try and get a total of 6 sets of 50 push-ups anyway. But this is gonna suck so fucking bad because you're in the middle of a set, you know, you're at rep number 30 and you're struggling, you still have 20 more to go. And, you know, to be honest, I'm tired right now. Like I mentioned, I'm not recovered from the previous workout completely. You know, I did the planche, I did the dips, I did planche yesterday. I'm not feeling 100%, but one big part of these endurance workouts is, you know, you have to do it anyway, even when you're tired, because the total amount of volume plays a big part in how strong or how endurant, if that's a word, you know, how much you are gonna be able to endure in the end. And yeah, that's very challenging, you know. But at the same time, when you choose to do these endurance workouts, like at some point you were questioning, like you were posing the question to yourself, right? What would happen if I was able to do 1,000 push-ups, 2,000 push-ups, right? At some point you were comfortable and you were able to dream about that. You were able to ask yourself. So now when you're tired, you also kind of owe it yourself to find out. And that's what, you know, that's kind of the mindset going into this training. But anyway, enough yapping. I'm gonna put on the timer, put on some music and see how far we can take this. Okay, last set. I'm resting a bit more in between sets now because I'm so fucking tired. I noticed on the last set I did check, I have to really try and extend my arm still. I get lazy when the set goes on. Right. Fucking hell. You know what I really respect about the guys doing the endurance stuff and the sets and reps stuff? It's like when you look at their videos, without fail, they are doing perfect reps from start to finish. And at the moment, you know, maybe I will find out in the future, but at the moment, I do not know how they achieve it. I mean, they practice perfect form, of course, but how do they not break down? That's what I don't get. But that's what I want to learn, because I feel like when you get to these endurance workouts, right, and you're doing trainings for like hours on end, or you're doing like an hour of very intense endurance, and then you're at the end of it, but you're like in excruciating pain, but you can still tell yourself like, hey, do this perfectly, you know, keep your form. You know, you can still be hard on yourself in those times. I feel like that's has to be a very useful skill in general life, right? The fact that you're not feeling sorry for yourself, the fact that you can, you know, still, you know, thrive in those situations and try to get the best out of it, you know. I feel like that's an insane ability, but yeah, at the moment I don't have it. I have to practice, but I do have a fucking pumped chest, like pumped to shit. I'm very happy with how I'm feeling at the moment. I mean, today, like I mentioned, I wasn't completely recovered with this endurance stuff. You have to learn how to do it when you're tired, and especially how to do it perfectly, you know, perfect form when you're tired. But yeah, that's still a long way to go. Anyway, it's like 8 o'clock. I still have to cook some food, some dinner. I'm gonna do that. I'm tired as hell, but you know, remember guys, when you don't feel like doing your training, at some point you told yourself you were gonna do it, right? You told yourself you were gonna do it when you were comfortable, so now you have to own up to your own promise when you're not comfortable, right? And in order to do so, maybe you can try out the Rock Lee self-rule, you know, the Might Guy self-rule. If you can't do the training you were originally supposed to do something else, but never just sit around. Anyway, I need some chicken.